Hello there again, and welcome to Cooking in Pajamas. It's hard to believe this is episode 4. We are into day 28 of our shelter in place. I want to thank all you guys for watching this, and for those of you who encourage me to do this, because it gives me something to do during this time of shelter in place. So I appreciate it, and I really want to put a shout out there to the kids in Alaska. Thank you for the nice notes about the Cooking in Pajamas. I appreciate it. Love you guys. And a shout out to Lisa there in Anchorage, and Busy and Sophie and Dawn and Janet and Josette and Andrew and all the Dorsey kids. Love you all. Thank you much. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Well, several years ago we did a Valentine's banquet at our church, and I made this dish. I made it in heart shape. Made some heart shaped things that we call ham balls, and everybody loved it and got good reviews on it, but nobody had said that they had ever tried that before, and I was really kind of surprised. I guess maybe it's just kind of an Iowa thing. So today what we are going to do is we are going to make ham balls. Now this is my wife's recipe. Her recipe is the bomb, and I've made it several times, but what I did with this recipe today is I actually cut it in half. Now when I did it for the banquet, I actually doubled it, so you can make this for as many people as you want. Here's the ingredients you start out with here. You start out with the meat. You got three different meats in this thing. You have a half a pound of ground beef. You have a pound of ground pork. And then the star of the show is you have a pound and a quarter of ground ham. Now, if you have a local butcher like we have, and if you're very nice to them, they will grind the ham for you. Just get plain ham or smoked ham, either one works fine, and have them grind it. What you do then is you take these three meats and you get them all mixed together. Okay, so once you get your three meats all mixed together real well, your ground ham, your ground pork, and your ground beef, then you add 2 beaten eggs, 1 cup of milk, and here's what you use for your binding agent. Now, if you were making a meatloaf, you would probably put breadcrumbs or cracker crumbs. I know I've even made meatballs where I put rice in it. I've even heard of people using oatmeal. But for this, what you use is 1.5 cups of graham crackers. Yes, you heard me right. Take graham crackers, put them in like a bread sack or something like that. Take a rolling pin to them, get them all crunched up. 1 package equals about 1.5 cups. That's what you're going to use for your binding agent. Then with your milk, your eggs, and your graham cracker crumbs, and you get that all mixed together. Okay, you have your ham, your pork, and your ground beef all mixed together. You've added your milk, your 2 eggs, and your 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs. You got it all mixed together. Then what you do, take a 1/2 cup measuring cup, and scoop it out 1/2 cup at a time. Now, if you remember the little story I told you about using cold water, put some cold water on your fingers, makes it easier to handle the meat. Take that 1/2 cup of meat, and you make it into balls. Now, if you wanted to, I guess, you could make this just into a loaf. You could just put it all in a loaf pan, but that ain't no fun. You want to make it into balls. So go ahead and make all your meat into balls and put it into a pan, 1/2 cup at a time. All right, here you go. You got 1 dozen made ham balls. Now, at this point, if you make more than this is a point where you can actually freeze them. You can put them in like an aluminum pan and cover them up and put them in the freezer and cook them at a later date if you'd like. Now you come to the point where you make the sauce. Now, the sauce is very important. You start out with 1 can of tomato soup. That's why I said tomato soup. You also start out with 1/2 cup of white vinegar. You do 1 teaspoon of dry mustard and 1 cup of brown sugar. So you got the vinegar and you got the brown sugar, so you get kind of a sweet and sour flavor to it. Once you get that sauce all mixed up, then you pour it over the ham balls. All over there. And at this point, you're ready to put them in the oven. Just like that. You set your oven for about 350 degrees. Leave them uncovered. Put them into your oven at 350 for 1 hour. We will be back in 60 minutes. All right, it has been an hour, and we're about ready to take them out. You know, I gave a shout out earlier to the kids in Alaska, and you know, I just realized that all those kids, most of them, have kids already. But you know what? You're still my kids. Love and miss y'all. Hope you've enjoyed these videos. It has been 1 hour. We are going to take the handballs out. Oh, look at them, look at them. There you go. They have been cooking for an hour. All bubbly and hot. You can take them out. Now, you can serve these over potatoes. You can serve them over rice. You can serve them over pasta. You can serve them over anything you like. I have actually made some homemade macaroni and cheese that we're going to be having with ours here in a little bit. It should look nice and that's perfect. It should look nice and pink inside. You put the sauce over them. Serve them over whatever you like. It's very good comfort food. You know, I think comfort food is something we need right now. You know, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of confusion going on right now, and there's a lot of scared people. You know, I can't help but think that Peter wrote his first letter to the Christians who were going through a very fearful time. They had been driven out of Jerusalem, they were scattered about, and he wrote this first letter to them to encourage them. And in 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 8 and 9, he said this. He said, "Finally, all of you be of one mind, having compassion for one another, love as brothers, be tender-hearted, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but on the contrary, blessing, knowing that you are called to this, that you may inherit a blessing." I hope you be a blessing to each one this week. Be courteous, be kind, be tender-hearted to one another, and we'll see you next week. God bless.